Okay, so now we're going to work on the second method for doing dihybrid crosses. This is the 16 box method. It is a method that some of you might prefer, some of you will not like. There are some tricks for using it, so here we go. This is the handout that you want to be looking at, and this method is showing you, so these are representing the different alleles, and they have A's and B's in them because we're looking at two different traits. So A's and B's. I'm not going to use A's and B's, but it's showing you how each of the traits can pick up a trait from the second trait that you're looking at. So I'm going to head all the way down to this sample problem. And in the sample problem, the first thing it asks you to do is choose a letter to represent the alleles in the cross. And we're looking here still at pea plants, but although we know what we're using when we are looking at Mendel's peas, here they have given us what is dominant and what is recessive. So I know it's different from what Miss Lum showed you, but we're going with big G for green, little g for yellow, so that is the color alleles. And then we have big N for smooth and little n for constricted. Constricted is the same as wrinkled. So our G's are for color, and I'm going to say that our other options, smooth or wrinkled, are for texture. So if we start our key, 1, big G is green, big G is green, little g is yellow, big N for round, big N for round, and little n for wrinkled. So those are our options. Now we're looking at parents. So this is a true dihybrid problem. Big little times big little. So I have big G, big N times big G, big N, little n. So this is green and round times green and round. Both are heterozygous for their traits. In order to figure out how to set this up, I need to know what can we get as a combination of genes in our egg and sperm. So there's two methods you can use. One is called FOIL. So this is a math concept. First, outer, inner, last. The first letter of each of the traits we put together, big G, big N. The outer letters, big G, little n. The innermost letters, little g, big N. And the last letters, little g, little n. So the gametes that can be formed are 4, and those are the options. If you don't like the FOIL method, and since we're not getting any March Madness this year, you could try the bracket method. So we take the first trait, which is the color trait, and we separate it, big G, little g, and then we bracket off of each of these, and we put then the alleles for the texture, big N, little n, put them together, big G, big N, big G, little g, big N, and little g, little n. So we have 4 gametes again that are going on each side of the Punnett square. This time our Punnett square is going to be a box of 16. So I've basically taken each of the options, big G, big N, big G, little n, little g, big N, little g, little n, put it on one side and then across the top. Here we're going to pull over our G's, big G over, big G down. I like to do all of my G's at the same time so I don't start crossing G's and N's. Big G over, big G down, big G over, little g down, big G over, little g down, big G over, big G down. So you get the idea. And then I go to the N's. Big N goes over, big N comes down, big N over, little n down. So you should be able to fill in this whole box of 16, and if you take a few moments to do that, you will know by checking the box below. Did you get the same thing as the filled in box? I think this is on the back of your handout actually. So here, just like Miss Lum did before, she's coming up with a ratio. How many dominant genes are there? So this in this case would be green and round. Those are the both dominant traits. How many dominant recessive, green and wrinkled? How many recessive dominant, yellow and round? And how many recessive, yellow and wrinkled offspring do I have? Here I've color coded them. So again, I've just taken all my green and shaded them greens. So the only ones that wouldn't be green would be little g's. They would be yellow. And then I took blue to represent my round. And then when I had little n, I know that is wrinkled. And when I count them up, I have a 9 to 3 to 3 to 1 ratio of green round to green wrinkled to yellow round to yellow wrinkled. When you flip to the back side, you have, some practice problems to do. And these are talking about mice. So we are looking at running and waltzing. Those are the two types of mice, and black or brown. So my key here is big R is running, big R is running, little r is waltzing. Colors, big B black, big B black, little b brown. So homozygous, heterozygous, homozygous, dominant recessive, homo, hetero, homo, dominant recessive. I'm crossing a heterozygous running, heterozygous black. So this is one mouse. Heterozygous for running would be big R, heterozygous for black, big B, little b. So I have my big R, big B, little b. With A, that's my multiplication sign. Homozygous running, big R, homozygous black, big B, big B. In order to get these traits, this one was the hard one. So I went back and I would have had to put them together in this way. When I do my box, so it technically would be a box of 16, but I'm cheating a little bit because this parent can only give a big R and a big B. So as a result, I separated out by FOIL or bracket method this parent. So it can give a big R with a big B, a big R with a little b, a little r with a big B, or a little r with a little b. This parent can only give big R and big B. I keep my R's together, I keep my B's together, I fill in my chart, my Punnett square. I really technically should do this 4 times, but they're all going to be the same. So then I'm cheating here and I'm putting my genotypes. So I have running black, running black, running black, running black. All of my offspring are running black. That would be my phenotypes. My genotypes, I would write each of these out and have a 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 ratio of them. So there are 4 other problems for you to work on this handout, and it is something that you should do so that you know if you are able to do a dihybrid cross. When you get back to your big packet, it is part 2 of the big packet. So part 2 of the big packet, the next page, so this I think is page 3 of your packet, is dihybrid crosses. So you should now be able to complete the dihybrid cross section of the packet. Throughout this packet, there are a couple times that there will be dihybrids, so it is a skill that you should be able to use. Thank you. Have a good day.